Are you prepared for the spine-chilling details lurking behind the scenes of horror movies? From hair-raising, real-life influences to creepy on-set happenings, I'm uncovering the most intriguing and frightening secrets. So hold on tight and get ready to be creeped out. Remember the iconic movie The Exorcist? You must. But what you didn't know was a shocking behind-the-scenes detail that'll amuse you. It's got everything. Possessions, green vomit, and Father Karras getting a face full of it. Can you imagine getting a mouthful of fake puke while acting out one of the most intense scenes in horror movie history? Ew. Well, that's precisely what happened to poor Father Karras, played by the fantastic Jason Miller. And the best part? The whole thing was captured in one genuine, unscripted shock, disgust, and anger reaction. Talk about making the scene even more unforgettable. But hey, that's the beauty of making a horror movie. You never know what might happen, and sometimes the unexpected can lead to some truly iconic moments. Speaking of, this one's actually terrifying. Get ready for a chilling tale from the set of Poltergeist. Remember that creepy clown in the movie? Well, it turns out that clown wasn't so friendly in real life either. That's right, folks, a robotic clown actually attacked little Oliver Robbins, who played Robbie, the middle Freeling child. It jammed and choked him during a scene, and everyone on set thought his reaction was just fantastic acting until they realized he was turning blue. Yikes. Can you imagine being strangled by a clown doll on a movie set and no one realizing it's real? That's some straight up horror movie stuff right there. But the good news is that Oliver survived the incident and is working on a documentary about the many deaths associated with the franchise. Talk about turning a frightening experience into something positive. How scary is that? Now, are you ready for a behind-the-scenes story about the king of horror himself, Stephen King? So, let's talk about one of his most famous adaptations, Misery. It's a nail-biting thriller about a crazed fan who holds an author captive, and it's got everything: suspense, violence, and a fantastic performance from Kathy Bates. And here's the thing, Stephen King was so invested in this movie that he became a part of the story himself. Here's what I mean. During a screening of the movie, he was so engrossed in the tension that he couldn't help but yell out a warning. Can you imagine having Stephen King, the master of horror, get so caught up in your movie that he's shouting at the screen? That's a pretty amazing testament to the power of Misery. And the best part? The movie was a huge success, and it even won an Oscar for being based on one of Stephen King's novels. He even considers it one of his top 10 favorite film adaptations of his own work. Talk about a true horror classic. While we're still talking about classic horror movies, buckle up for a juicy behind-the-scenes detail from one of the most iconic horror movies of all time, Psycho. Remember the shower scene? You know, the one that still sends shivers down your spine just thinking about it? Well, here's a little tidbit that might surprise you. That blood that was sloshing down the drain, it was actually chocolate syrup. I know, right? Can you imagine? Chocolate syrup. Alfred Hitchcock's black and white cinematography was so powerful that it perfectly concealed the fact that the blood was just a sweet treat. Imagine having to act out one of the most intense scenes in movie history with chocolate syrup instead of fake blood. But it all worked out in the end because the scene still remains one of the most memorable and frightening moments in cinematic history. So the next time you watch Psycho, remember, it's not real blood, it's just a delicious chocolatey treat. Maybe that'll help calm the nerves. Now we're diving into the behind-the-scenes world of the classic horror movie, Halloween. This movie was a game changer in the world of horror and introduced us to the legendary Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. But did you know that a future horror icon was also on the set of Halloween? What? Yes, it's true. Robert Englund, the man who brought Freddy Krueger to life, was actually on the set of Halloween, but he wasn't there to scare anyone. Nope, he was spreading fake leaves to cover cover up the fact that the movie was actually shot in Pasadena during spring instead of the Midwest on Halloween night. Can you imagine the future Freddy Krueger spreading leaves on the set of Halloween? Talk about a small role that led to big things. It just goes to show that you never know where your career will take you in the entertainment industry. Speaking of, you won't believe it. The man who made Jason Voorhees a household name also had a turn as the razor-fingered Freddy Krueger. That's right, Kane Hodder, the king of Friday the 13th, was the one who donned the iconic red and green striped sweater and bladed glove in Jason Goes to Hell: The Final Friday. The scene where Freddy pulls Jason's mask underground was such a tease for the epic showdown between the two legendary horror icons in Freddy vs. Jason. And now we have the man behind the hockey mask and also behind the razor-fingered glove. Talk about versatility in the world of horror. Now, have you heard about the legendary death scene of Johnny Depp's character? Well, let me tell you, it was a bloodbath and a half. The set was filled with gallons of fake blood, ready to bring to life the horrors of Freddy Krueger. But as fate would have it, things didn't go exactly as planned. The 360-degree rotating bed was supposed to rotate clockwise, but the grips pushed it in the opposite direction, and suddenly all chaos broke loose. The blood started splattering everywhere, onto the floor where all the electrical equipment was located. I mean, talk about a mess. But the most terrifying part of it all was when the blood looked so real, it was simply revolting. And let me tell you, when that blood hit the floor, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger had to act quickly. He grabbed the hand of the actress playing his victim and ran for their lives to avoid being electrocuted. Our hero. It's no wonder Freddy went a little off character at that point. So there you have it, folks. A behind-the-scenes look at one of the most legendary death scenes in horror movie history. And just a friendly reminder, if you don't like the sight of blood, maybe skip the horror movies. Here's one more for you. You know what they say about fortune cookies? They're supposed to give you a glimpse into your future. But for the Losers Club, or the Lucky Seven as they're known in the It miniseries, their fortunes were anything but lucky. When they reunite as adults, they sit down for a meal at a Chinese restaurant, cracking open their fortune cookies with anticipation, only to find something unsettling inside. It's a moment that truly took the adult actors by surprise. Tim Reed, who plays adult Mike Hanlon, revealed in an interview that none of them were allowed to know what was going to happen in the fortune cookie scene. Imagine their reactions, just like the audience, when they opened those cookies and found strange things inside, like a moving eye and the embryo of a baby bird. Ew, the horror of it still haunts them. And it's all laid out in those small, innocent-looking cookies. Talk about a twist you don't see coming. But that's the beauty of it. It's a matter of keeping you on your toes, even in the unlikeliest of places. So, which one was your favorite? Let us know, and don't forget to subscribe for more.